Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here, and continuing my Christmas reviews. I remember in my last review I told you guys that was going to jump into some guilty pleasure or Christmas movies and stuff of mine. So I'm going to review another one, which is Jingle All the Way. Yeah, so I saw this movie so many times when I was a kid, and I really did like it. I know a lot of people really did not like it. But yeah, it was more for kids, and yeah, that's what I was. And yeah, I really did like this movie a lot as a kid, and I still do kind of like watching it today. Yeah, and it has a pretty good cast also. I mean, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad, Phil Hartman, Martin Mull, James Belushi, yeah, and some other people also. Yeah, so yeah, I really think this is an entertaining movie for kids at least. Yeah, I know probably a lot of adults really do not like this movie. Yeah, and they really probably feel embarrassed of that this is an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Yeah, so yeah. And yeah, I think the message that this movie was trying to send was like a parent will do anything for their kid on Christmas or something. Yeah. Yeah, because throughout the entire movie, the father is just trying to get his son the Christmas gift that they want the most. So yeah. So yeah, this is an entertaining kids movie. I would give this about 2.5 stars out of 4. So yeah. So let me just get right into it. Alright, so the movie opens up with showing the show Turbo Man or whatever. Shows Turbo Man and his sidekick Booster saving a boy and his parents. It's from his enemy Dementor. Yeah. Dementor was dropping the kid down a cliff, whatever, and Turbo Man saved him before he fell to the ground. And it was being watched by the son, Jamie, who's played by Jake Lloyd. You might know him as Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 1. Yeah, 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 you can hate all you want, blah, 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 yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, he was watching that. And as the episode ended, his mom, who was played by Rita Wilson, is telling him that he should change for his karate class because it was almost time for them to go. And he was worried about his dad missing it because he always misses it. And then we cut to his dad at work where there's like a Christmas party going on. And yeah. And then we see main character Howard Langston, who's played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's talking to some customers. So he's on the phone, and he tells every single one that they're his number one customer. Yeah. And then his wife calls, his wife Liz, and then yeah, she he tells her that he'll meet her at the karate class, and then he just says that she's the number one customer, and then she just hung up on him. And then as Howard was trying to drive to the class, there was just a ridiculous amount of traffic, and he was just stuck there. And the karate class started. We saw all the kids, and then we see Liz sitting next to the neighbor Ted, who's played by Phil Hartman. Rest in peace. And yeah, his son Johnny was there. He was standing next to Jamie, and a couple of women were trying to. One woman was giving Ted a plate of cookies as a thank you gift for fixing her door, and then another lady was asking him to look at her porch light because that wasn't working. Yeah. And then we cut back to Howard stuck in traffic, and then he did something so illegal. He just turned into the side of the road and started to drive into that. But little did he know that there was a traffic cop up stuck in the traffic also, and then he went after Howard, and Howard pulled over, and then the police officer was played by Robert Conrad, and Ed was asking for his license, and Howard was telling him that he's just in a hurry. And, yeah, the cop just took that as offense, and he just told him that last thing he wanted is for a citizen to be disappointed in the performance of his duty. And then he pulled Howard out of his car, and he had him recite the alphabet backwards. And then Jamie then and received his belt, and Howard missed that. And then Howard finally arrived, but it was too late. By that time, everyone was just gone. Then he went back home. He saw Ted was on his roof and that he put some lights up for his house, yeah. And he told Howard that he got the karate class all on video for him. And Howard was trying to tell Jamie why he missed the karate class, Jamie just didn't want to hear it, and he just ran up to his room. And yeah, his room was just like completely filled with superhero stuff. Like he had some um handmade Hulk mask on the wall, and he had Captain America like painted on his wall. And Howard found his new belt. He tried to be funny. He put it like around his head, acting like a ninja or something. Jimmy just walked off, and he told his dad how important this class was to him. And then Howard just asked how he could make it up to him if there was something really big he wanted for Christmas. And Jamie told him, what he wanted. He wanted the Turbo Man action figure with all the things that it had. Yeah. And he said that Johnny would get one, and so would everyone else he knows. And whoever doesn't would be a real loser. And Howard told him that he won't be one of the losers. And then later that night, as Liz and Howard were getting ready for bed, Liz asked Howard if he had gotten the doll. And yeah, Howard just knew he was busted. He tried to say, because she was talking about a Turtle Man doll she asked him to pick up a couple of weeks ago. And Howard just went along. He said that he had got it, and he got the stuff like the boot things that would shoot out in front, and the jetpack, and the voice box that would say it's turbo time. Yeah. And then once they got in bed and Liz turned off the lights, we just saw like he knew he was in trouble, and he gave like a really scared look on his face. Then the next morning, he tried to tell Liz that he was just going to go to the office to pick up the doll because he accidentally left it there. And Jamie told Howard that there would be the Christmas parade going on that day. It was Christmas Eve that day, yeah. And that he always missed it, and he can't miss it this year because Turtle Man would be there. And Howard just promised that he'd be there. And as he was walking out to his car, Ted then ran up to him with a reindeer. He told Howard that it was just a Christmas surprise for Johnny. And Howard asked what would happen to the reindeer after Christmas, and Ted said that he saw a family of deer down by Lake Minnetonka, and that he'd take him down there and set him free. Yeah. And as Howard kind of like reached out to pet the reindeer just like went berserk. And Ted just said that reindeer used to be such gentle animals, and there just must be something that he doesn't like about Howard. And as Howard went off, he told Ted that he's gonna get a Turtle Man for Jamie, and Ted told Howard that he got a Turtle Man for Johnny months ago, and that it was under their tree. Yeah. Then later, Howard then went to a toy store. They weren't open yet, and there was like a load of people there. And Howard was just like pushing everyone aside up to the front, and then they just pushed him back, and then we saw a mailman named Myron, who was played by Sinbad. And he was trying to make a conversation with Howard about being a postman, sorry, during that time of year, and that there was just a bunch of letters from kids to Santa at the North Pole, and that his son just sent him out to find Turbo Man. And yeah, and he was just then later on just starting to just shout, and people were starting to stare, yeah. Then he just grabbed a woman and was just taking her. Then the store then opened, and then there was just an angry mob that ran in, and someone even stepped on the guy who opened the door's face. Yeah. And then Myron knocked over a bunch of toys on one of the shelves. Yeah. And when Howard and Myron ran to where the Turtle Man toys were kept, they were just completely sold out. And when they were telling one of the employees that they were looking for a Turtle Man, the employee was just laughing, and then everyone just started laughing. And, and then Howard grabbed two of the employees. They asked where their Christmas spirit was, and they just gave a big smile. Yeah. And yeah, there was just no more laughing. Everyone just went back to minding their business. Then one of the employees told Howard that the last Turtle Man just left, and a lady had on layaway. And as Howard just tried to go running out to find the lady, Myron just hit him with his mail bag, and he knocked over a bunch of boosters. And then there was like a kid with a remote control car. That kid was actually the one of the kids that used to be on the Disney Channel movie Surfers. What was his name? Marcus? Yeah. Then Howard grabbed the remote, and then he made Myron slip over the car. Yeah. Then he went after to find the lady, and he saw the lady in her car. The Turtle Man was in the back. He saw it through the back window. He tried running after her, but the lady just hightailed out of there. And then we just saw like a thing where Howard was just driving everywhere at every toy store trying to find Turtle Man, and he couldn't find it. And then we saw him just like tear apart a Turtle Man cutout. Yeah. And then at his house, Liz was making some cookies, and Jamie and Johnny were trying to play Turbo Man. Then Ted then came up. He told Liz that she should just go take a shower and that he'd watch the boys and finish making cookies. Yeah. And as he tried to eat one, it was just so hot he dropped it. Yeah. And then later on, Howard called the house and Ted answered. And Ted was eating the cookies as he was talking to Howard, and Howard just shouted to him to put the cookies down. Yeah. And then the next batch of cookies was ready, so then Ted just said he had to go and he hung up. And then Howard approached Myron again. Myron was trying to apologize for what he did to Howard, whacking him. And he tried to say that him and Howard should just team up and find the Turbo Man, but Howard didn't want to do it. But then, yeah, Myron was just offended by that. He said Howard was just being racist. And then some guy then just ran past them, and he said that there was a late delivery Turtle Man at the mall or something. Then Howard and Myron went to their cars and tried to rush over there, and as Howard started his car, he was in reverse. He knocked over a police motorcycle, and as he was trying to put it back up, one of the mirrors fell, and it turns out it was the same cop that pulled him over. Yeah. And then he gave him another ticket for breaking his mirror. Then later on, Howard and Myron were at the Mall of America, and at the toy store, like the owner or something was giving a speech that they did have a small quantity of Turbo Man. And what happened was there would be a raffle to see who would get a doll. Oh yeah, and every price on the figures doubled. Yeah, and then the employees just threw the balls in the air. They were like numbered balls. Yeah, and then there was just an angry mob. Everyone tried to get balls. And when Howard got a hold of the ball, Myron sprayed him with pepper spray, and he took Howard's ball, and he had two. Then everyone just went after Myron, and he lost one of the balls. Howard went to chase after it. He was going all through the mall. He was like going down the up escalator, and he went through Legoland, and then it fell to the hands of a little kid. And she was in the playground of the mall, and then Howard just went through the playground to try to get it back. And then when it was down the ball pit, he found the child. He asked if she would trade for that ball for one of the balls in the pool. When she didn't want to do it, he tried She put it in her mouth and he tried to get it out, and then the kid's mom nailed him with her bag. And then all the ladies were whacking him with bags and wrapping paper, and kids were throwing some of the balls at him. Yeah, they were just like trying to make him go. And he just said that he's just looking for Turbo Man. And then the mall Santa, who was played by James Belushi, and his elf told him where he could get a Turbo Man. And then they took him to like some kind of Santa workshop where they had toys at really high prices. Says yeah, yeah. And Howard told the Santa that there was something that didn't seem quite kosher, and the Santa told him that they were doing it for the kids. Yeah. And then they charged him $300 for the Turbo Man, and it was a multi-language version. Yeah. And when it Yeah, and it wasn't together, it needed to be put together manually. Yeah, and then Howard just wanted a refund, but they refused to give it to him. They said all sales are final. Then Howard just called them a bunch of names like conmen, thieves, degenerates, lowlifes, thugs, and criminals. Then the Santa said they were fighting words, and then a fight started between Howard and all the Santas there. And he was like, yeah, first he grabbed James Belushi Santa's beard and just threw it back in his face. Yeah. Then there was another Santa who had like candy cane nunchucks, and then he just nailed him with a big candy cane, and he was knocking out the Santas everywhere. And then a big Santa who was actually played by Big Show then had a fight with Howard. And then Big Show Santa then gave him a huge punch, and Howard went flying. And then a small Santa like got on his head. And as Big Show was gonna give Howard a punch, he ducked, and Big Show nailed the small Santa, and the small Santa went all the way across the room. And when Big Show let his guard down, Howard punched him in the face. Yeah. And then the elf with James Belushi Santa then gave him a taser in the ass. And then all the Santas gave a dog pile on him. And then the police then came in. And yeah, Howard then found like a toy police badge, and then he told the police that he's been working on the case for 3 years and they come barging in here. Then he just basically told them to arrest all the Santas and elves. Yeah. Then later, his car then ran out of gas. Yes, and then he had to push it to a nearby diner. Yeah. And then later he called home. Jamie answered the phone. Jamie asked Howard if he was on his way home. Howard just wanted to talk to Liz, and Jamie was trying to tell him that he really needs to get home. When someone makes a promise, they definitely should keep it. Then Jamie brought up Turtle Man, and then Howard just snapped at Jamie. He said that he doesn't want to hear anything about Turtle Man. And then Jamie just yelled at Howard saying he doesn't know anything about keeping his promises because he never does, and he never does anything that he says he's gonna do. And when he hung up, Liz then got there, and she just said, "Damn you, Howard." Yeah. Then, as Howard was having a cup of coffee, Myron then appeared again, and then he just said that he's still not having any luck in finding the doll, just like Howard's not. And Howard just telling him that he's been a bad father because he yelled at Jamie for no good reason. And he told Myron a story about him wanting to do something special for Jamie a couple of years ago, so he built him a clubhouse, and they had Christmas dinner in it. Yeah. Then Myron told Howard when he was a kid how he wanted a special present also, and it was a Johnny 7 all-man gun or something, and that had 7 guns in one, but he never did get it. Yeah. And he told him like a guy who has his own business now, he got a Johnny 7 all-man gun, and that he became a billionaire, and Myron is just a loser. And Howard imagined Jamie being up exactly how Myron was. Yeah. And then they heard on the radio that there was a way they could get a Turbo Man, and it was on a radio station saying that if they would be the first caller to correctly identify all 8 of Santa's reindeer, then they would be the winner. And Howard got to the phone first. He closed the door on Myron's arm, and as he was trying to call, Myron just kept trying to get the phone away from him. And then he eventually just pulled the phone out and just broke it. But yeah. And then the guy, the like waiter at the diner or whatever, told them that the radio station is just 2 blocks down. So, then Howard and Myron then raced over to the radio station. Howard got there way before Myron because of Myron's bag of mail. And then when he got to the station, the DJ, when he got to the DJ's, where the DJ was, the DJ just called the police because he just thought Howard was a madman. Then Howard just kicked the door open, and then he said all he'd seen his reindeer to him: Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen. Yeah. Then Howard eventually arrived. Myron eventually arrived. Howard told him that he's too late, and he already did. He already won. And then Myron just pulled out a package that he said was a bomb. And he said that hundreds of those come in the mail every day, and he just keeps one in case he ever needs one. And he threatened to blow the place up unless he got Turbo Man. And as Howard trying to calm him down, Myron was just saying that he just tried to be his friend, but he just like spit in his face, basically. Yeah. And then he thought the DJ was laughing at him, and then he said the DJ was kind of puts trash cans from the mailbox, so he needs to get up and move it. And then he eventually just like he threw the package in the air. Then Howard and the DJ hit the deck, and it turns out the package was just some kind of music box or something. And as Howard was about to punch Myron, the DJ asked if they were under the impression that he actually had a Turbo Man in the studio, and he didn't. There was just a gift certificate, yeah. Then the police then arrived. Howard and Myron tried to get out, but the police got them before they could go. Then Myron pulled out another package. He said it was a bomb again. He told all the cops to put their guns down, yeah. And then once again, the Robert Conrad's cop got to Howard again, yeah. And then he got his gun down. And then Myron left, and Robert Conrad's cop picked up the package. He didn't really believe it was a bomb. And then when he ripped it open, there was a big explosion. It was really a bomb. Even Myron didn't know it was really a bomb. And then Howard went back to the diner with a tank of gas to fill his car, and he saw that it was vandalized, yeah. And then a tow truck brought him back home. He saw in his house Ted was putting up the star on their Christmas tree. And then he said that he thought a perfect way to get revenge on him is to steal the Turbo Man he got for Johnny. And then Liz told Ted that putting the star on is always Howard's job, and he's adamant about it. Then Howard then broke into Ted's house. He took the Turbo Man, and Ted got for Johnny. And as he tried to get out, there were actually Christmas carolers there, so he tried to get out through the back door. Then he realized that he couldn't actually steal from a kid, so he was going to put it back. And then the reindeer then chased him back inside. He locked the reindeer in another room. But as he was running, he like knocked over a statue, and the head went to the fireplace. Yeah, and so then the smoke alarm went off. The head was on fire. Howard tried to put it out, and he accidentally kicked it through the window, and it scared the carolers off. And then, as Ted went to extinguish it, him and Liz saw Howard in the house. And yeah, Ted saw Howard took Johnny's Turbo Man, and Liz just said that because she then still thought that he got Jamie the Turbo Man. So she just thought that he broke in and was trying to steal. And when Howard was trying to tell Liz the truth, Liz just told Howard she didn't want to hear it, and she just wanted to go to pray Jamie. She asked Ted to drive, yeah. And as Ted left, he told Howard that he couldn't bench press his way out of this one. Then the reindeer broke out of the room, and then Howard just punched the reindeer and knocked him down, yeah. And then later, Howard and the reindeer were drinking beer together, yeah. Then Howard saw a drawing that Jamie made of him, Liz, and Jamie together, yeah. And he just told the reindeer that he's on his own, and he and then left for the parade. And then we cut to the parade, and we saw like a Santa band playing Jingle Bells or something, yeah. And then Ted, Liz, Jamie, and Johnny then arrived at the parade. And then we saw a bunch of characters. We saw like Snoopy, Ernie, Bert, Barbie, the Tick, a Ninja Turtle, Sonic the Hedgehog, Gumby, Madeline, Cat in the Hat, and some other characters there. And as Howard was in like a cab trying to get to the parade, it was just a packed road, so he just took off on his own on foot. And as Ted and Liz were parking the car, Ted was trying to hit on Liz, saying like she needs a shoulder to cry on and stuff. Yeah. And then Howard he saw what was going on with Ted and Liz, and as he was gonna go after him, he bumped into Robert Conrad's cop again. As he was getting some coffee, he knocked him down, and the coffee fell on his face. Yeah. And then he tried to run away from the cop. Yeah. And when Liz finally realized that Ted was trying to hit on her, she hit him in the head with like a jug of eggnog. Yeah. Robert Conrad's cop, he accidentally ran into a school bus. Yeah. And when Howard went to hide from the cop, and then a worker in the parade or something thought that he was the guy that was playing Turbo Man in the parade. So yeah, they then got him into the Turbo Man suit and put him on the float. Yeah. And then there was the Turbo Man part of the parade where Howard was just as Turbo Man up in the air, up onto the float. Yeah. And then the two broadcasters were saying that Turbo Man was going to select a special child from the audience, and they'd win the special Turbo Man doll. Yeah. And then Howard picked it up, and then he was celebrating because he finally got the doll. Oh, and Booster was on the float too. He told Howard that he better be on his toes because the Mentor would be coming onto the float in a little bit. And when the Mentor was like waiting, he was just grabbed with some tinsel. And as Howard was looking around trying to find someone to get the doll, and then he picked Jamie. He actually said Jamie, and Jamie was shocked that Turbo Man knew his name. Then Jamie went up onto the float and got the doll. He asked Turbo Man how he knew his name, and Howard was about to say he's his father, but before he could finish, the Mentor then came on to the float, who was actually Myron. Yeah. Yeah, and Myron said that he's not going anywhere without the doll. And as Booster was trying to break it up, Myron then just knocked Booster off the float. Then a few people were beating up Booster, saying they don't like him. And as Myron was trying to take the doll from Jamie, Howard was telling Myron to leave him alone. And then Myron did the Mentor punch where the fist comes off his arm and punches Turbo Man in the face. Yeah. And then Turbo Man shot the turbo rings from his arm out to Myron. But then Dementor's henchmen, the Demon Team, came and were attacking Turbo Man. And Jamie then kicked Myron right in the nuts. And Myron was chasing Jamie trying to get the doll. Yeah. And then they eventually were actually climbing up a Christmas tree thing or something. And then Turbo Man then started to fly, and he couldn't even control the jetpack at first. He went up into the air and then turned it off, and he was like high in the air, and then he started to fall down. Then he was just flying out of control. And then he eventually got control of it. Tried to get Jamie, but he missed him. Yeah, and he was just flying all over the place. He flew through a house with a family praying. Yeah, and then he just like had a head collision with a wall, then just flew down to the ground, yeah. And then as Jamie and Myron were climbing up the tree some more, it then broke, and then it tipped over, and then it was just in a flat position, and like that, yeah, and Jamie and Myron were holding on so they wouldn't fall. And as Turbo Man threw his boomerang trying to hit the Mentor, he missed. And then Myron got the Turbo Man out. got the Turtle Man doll from Jamie, and as the boomerang came back, it hit Myron. The Myron fell off onto a police float. Oh, and yeah, as Myron was celebrating getting it, all the police on the float pulled out their guns on him. And then Jamie then fell off of the tree, and then Turtle Man then came up and grabbed Jamie and saved him, yeah. And when they got to ground, Jamie told Liz that he feels bad because his dad wasn't there to see him fly, and he was blaming himself. And then Turbo Man told him that his dad's not mad at him, and he loves him more than anything. Jamie asks how he knows. Yeah, and then he pulled off the helmet, and he saw it was his dad, yeah. And then Ted then came up, he took Johnny, and they left, yeah. And then Robert Metcalf gave Jamie the Turtle Man back. Like, yeah, and then Howard was apologizing to him for everything that happened. The bike, the coffee, the bus, and the bomb. And as Myron was being arrested, Jamie then gave him the doll. The doll, yeah. And Myron thanked him. And then he apologized for what just happened between them. Yep. And and Howard then said that he thought Jamie wanted the doll more than anything. And then Jamie said, what does he need the doll for when he has the real Turtle Man right at home? And then the people at the parade just lifted Howard up and just carried him around, yeah. And then that's how the movie ended. And then after the credits rolled, there was one gag left where Howard then put the the star on the tree, yeah. And Jamie, he was just like saying voila. And then Liz was telling Howard that everything that he did for Jamie really shows how much he loves him. And she asked, what did Howard get her, yeah. And then Howard once again put on like that like uh-oh face. Yeah. And then yeah, that's how it ended. So yeah. 2.5 stars out of 4. Like I said, I think it's an entertaining movie for kids. So yeah. It's not really for adults, so yeah, I guess that's why adults really don't like this movie, and they're embarrassed of it being an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. But yeah, alright. So that's my Jingle All the Way review. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.